Hi, welcome to this week's edition of SWTV's College Football Show. I'm Rich Zalonis, and once again I'm joined by Chris Molino from the Rommelt Building. And Coach, let's start right off with our Underachievers of the Week from last week's games.
Well, to me, the biggest disappointment, and I'm sure you're probably going to agree here, is West Virginia. Ranked number 8th in the beginning of the year, number 8 in the beginning of the year. A team that, many people thought could contend for a national championship. Looked great in their bowl game win over Oklahoma, and they come in this year and stumble against East Carolina. They were dominated, and then they go out to Colorado, and to me, the head coach is wandering the sidelines, talking to himself, not really knowing what to do. The players are out in the field with their hands up. We're going to call timeout. What are we going to do here? And they blow one against Colorado.
Absolutely. That game's on the coaching staff, and that game's on Bill Stewart, especially as the head football coach, doing his best impression of a deer in the headlights during the final drive. West Virginia had a couple timeouts left, had the ball near midfield. This goof decides to run the clock down and throw a Hail Mary pass. The ESPN announcers, the players themselves were coming off the field. Nobody knew what was going on. So Bill Stewart gets our Underachiever of the Week for totally destroying in 3 weeks' time what Rich Rodriguez took 3 or 4 years to build at West Virginia. And I don't blame the fans for being mad at Rodriguez. He's gone, and it's obvious this man's in over his head. Underachiever number 2.
I don't even know if you want to call them underachievers. I guess you could. The disappointing thing about Tennessee is you watch the game, and at crucial times there's undisciplined personal foul penalties. It's a physical game, and Arian Foster during the game getting tackled and pushed around a little bit and gets up and throws a punch, personal foul instead of a 3rd and 1, makeable first down situation, 3rd and 16, take your football team right out of a chance of making a first down and continuing a drive. It's very, very apparent that they need to hire a special teams coach at Tennessee. They were just totally outplayed on special teams. Cost them the game, I thought.
And not to rub salt in your wounds, because Tennessee obviously is your favorite team, but something isn't right in Knoxville. Maybe it's time for Philip Fulmer to be replaced or to step down, but they have much too much talent. Now, I didn't predict them to win the game, but I didn't think they'd get blown away in that kind of fashion. And like you said, a lot of it's mental mistakes, physical mistakes you can live with as a coach at some point, but the mental mistakes 4 weeks into the season by some older players, not tolerable. This week we've got 6 games for you. We're going to start off with game number 1, the Tennessee Volunteers at 1-2 traveling to Auburn to play the 3-1 Tigers in an SEC matchup. Coach Malls, I know you're a little bit down on the Vols. What do you have to say this week?
Well, I am down. I'm not as down as some of the other fans who were at the game booing the players, which I think is totally uncalled for. It's not like there's no effort out there. There are a lot of mistakes and things like that. Maybe you are upset with the head coach. You don't boo the players at home. I didn't like that at all. As upset as I am, this is a tough game for me to call. Obviously, my heart wants to go with Tennessee. Auburn's coming off a stinging loss to LSU. I just don't know if I see them losing 2 in a row at home. Both teams are fighting for their lives here. Tennessee a little bit more than Auburn. As much as everybody else is criticizing Philip Fulmer, he does seem to have a way to get things turned back around, and I'm really hoping that he can do that. The problem with Tennessee is that offensive line's not playing physical enough to get things done, and I think they're going to have their 3rd loss at Auburn this week.
I'm going to have to agree with you also. I think Auburn's defense is too good. If you watched the game against LSU last week, they had LSU right where they wanted them, but Auburn's offense could not sustain anything. They were on the field defensively most of the second half, and eventually you're going to wear down. I think we're talking about a little bit different animal with Tennessee's offense. I think their strength is defensively. Look for a low-scoring game, but I'm going to pick Auburn to win that one. Game number 2 has Butch Davis's North Carolina Tar Heels at 2-1, traveling to Miami to play the Hurricanes also at 2-1. Canes coming off a huge win at College Station last week over Texas A&M. Butch Davis's gang loses a heartbreaker at home to Virginia Tech. How do you see this one going?
Well, I don't see it going well for North Carolina. In the loss to Georgia Tech, they lost their starting quarterback, T.J. Yates, for 6 weeks. They did struggle to open the season with McNeese State, but made up for that by pounding Rutgers, and they did play Virginia Tech tough. Miami's coming on strong. Craig Cooper is coming off a big game. He's starting to really roll things up, running the football. I think the U's looking a little bit better. They're looking hungry. There's some real young athletes out there. I like Miami at home.
I like them also at home. As much as I can't stand Miami, they're one of my top 5 teams that I despise. But Randy Shannon is trying to do it the right way. He is getting kids in that do at least recognize the difference between a letter and a number. And they are starting to build that defense back up with a lot of speed. North Carolina did go to Rutgers. They did win on the road outside of the state for the first time in a long time, I think since the Civil War, somewhere in there. But in all honesty, they beat a Rutgers team that lost to Navy over the weekend.
Yeah.
Rutgers is totally, the wheels are totally off there. I'm going to go ahead and pick Miami of Florida to move to 3-1 on the year. Game number 3 has the Wisconsin Badgers, traveling to the Big House, undefeated, ranked number 8th in the nation at 3-0, traveling to Michigan to take on the 1-2 Wolverines.
The Wolverines starting to have someone emerge in that offense. Sam McGuffey is a rushing and receiving threat there. The Michigan defense, who I thought was maybe the strength of the team, gave up their first touchdown in the 4th quarter at Notre Dame. The Badgers, I think, are already battle-tested here a little bit as well. They won a tough one at Fresno State, pretty tough to go out there and win. I love that they use their tight ends in their passing offense, a big part of their offense there. I like that a lot. I just think right now at this point they're too physical and too much for Michigan.
I'm going to agree. It's obvious that Rich Rodriguez doesn't have the pieces to the puzzle that he wants yet for the spread offense. Again, defenses can only hold you in the game nowadays with the way college offenses spread you out. You have to score some points. I think Michigan is a year away. Wisconsin, I look for them to win in Ann Arbor for the first time since 1994. Game number 4 has the Illini of Illinois, led by Ron Zook at 2-1, ranked 21st in the country, traveling to Happy Valley to play Joe Paterno, his sore legs, and the 12th-ranked Penn State Nittany Lions, who are 4-0. Coach, a real intriguing matchup.
Yeah, it really is. I like the offense that Illinois runs and Juice Williams, and I think that it's going to be a big challenge for Penn State's D this week. However, I really like Penn State's offense. They usually talk about their defense, but last week against Temple, they started off real sloppy, and then all of a sudden a 31-point explosion out of Penn State, which is something a lot of people might not be used to seeing.
And Coach, not to interrupt, but they are currently the 3rd-ranked offense, 3rd in the nation in scoring offense. Penn State is averaging some huge numbers.
I like it a lot. I just hope that Penn State comes out sharp from the get-go and explodes on Illinois early. I think that they will, and I think that you need to get some more attractive female reporters out there for Joe Paterno, so we can see that wonderful personality that he has. I'm picking Penn State at home.
And for those of you who don't know what Coach is talking about, Paterno said if maybe there were some more attractive women on the sidelines, he would have been there instead of in the press box resting his aching legs last week. I see this as being a real simple game. Shut down Juice Williams, shut down Aurelius Ben with the short screen games and bubble screens that the Illini like to throw. Make Illinois a one-dimensional team through the air. I think Penn State wins this one. Tom Bradley, one of the more underrated defensive coordinators in the nation, year in and year out, has Penn State's defense among the elite. This year coming in, they're ranked 7th nationally in total defense, giving up 223 yards a game. I really think Penn State moves to 5-0 and has some good things going on in Happy Valley. Everybody around here at least happy for the weekend.